We're live. Welcome, Melinda's Enchanted Cottage Witches Social on February 11th. Yes, the topic not to discuss tonight is going to be picking your nose on camera.
Which we're kidding, by
Of
the
course,
way.
of course.
I was just making a
We
joke.
have no qualms about picking our nose on camera. Oh, yes, we're having
Welcome
fun.
to the Witches Social.
That's right. 226-931-1419 if anyone wants to call in tonight.
Good time call.
Yeah. And tell us about how you like to pick your nose in public. No, don't do that. Hi, Charmaine. Happy Thursday.
Charmaine.
Yeah. How's your night going? We're going to give everybody a few minutes to catch on. You guys know the routine. You know the drill by now. As you pop on, just say hello. If you're new and you haven't joined us before, just give us a little insight as to, general vicinity of where you're from, because this is kind of going all over the place. We have people from all around the world that have been popping on and saying hello, and it's been pretty cool to get to know them. So
yeah, making new friends.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you do pop on, we don't see who all these people are yet unless you actually say hello.
Yeah.
We don't know who you are.
So say hello.
Say hello. We know you're watching. I can see the
can
number.
See you're watching.
I just can't see who you are. So,
It's a silly night tonight. I think we're both tired.
We
Jeremy's still
Hi, Pat.
hurting unit.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
I just recovered from a really bad case of the hiccups.
Yeah.
In conjunction with this back issue that I've got going on. There were not nice words coming out of me. I'm just saying, it was bad.
Hi, Holly. Hey, Peggy.
Hugs to Peggy, yes, and hi, Holly. Good to see you guys on. Joseph. Hello.
Joseph's new. Hi.
Joseph's new, yeah, a name I'm not familiar with. So hello, nice to see you on. And if you do get this, just give us a little shout out from where you're at, where you're joining us today. So Keith Bush, I recognize the name. I think you've seen me before. That's awesome. Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for coming on, guys.
So if you don't know the routine or the drill by now, the reason we do this is this used to be something that we hosted in shop, in person, at our shop. Now, mind you, we only did it like once a month, if that. But since we've been locked down with quarantine, I mean, while the store is actually open for curbside pickup, we thought, we'll make good use of the time, and we'll host the Witches Social online through Facebook. And it's been fun. Pretty awesome.
It's been a great experience. We love seeing you guys. Love chatting it up. It's been good.
Hi, April. Hi, Michelle. Catch up on all the likes here so that I haven't lost track. Giving everybody a few minutes to log in. So basically what we're doing with these Witches Socials is we're just, we usually bring up a topic of discussion and allow everybody a chance to participate in the conversation, weigh in and give us some thoughts, opinions, ideas, opportunity to change our minds if we've had a epiphany of our own or a thought that we hold to. We always have this open-minded perspective on magic in general, and it's we've always been encouraging everybody.
Joseph, yes.
Oh, that's the name. Yes, hi.
Sorry.
Actually, I was just going through some pictures today, and saw your voodoo doll, and thought that was pretty. It was a good reminder, actually.
Yeah.
Nice memory of that.
That was a great workshop.
Yep. And hi,
Andrew's
Melissa.
on
Hi,
here.
Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, Melissa.
Yeah.
So lots of people jumping on. We'll just give them a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So we were originally doing this at 2:00 in the afternoon.
We were, because, what else were we going to do?
Yeah, lockdown, wasn't much to do. We've changed it to 8 p.m. daily, except for Sundays and Mondays, because
we're going to take those days off.
that's our days off, and
Hi,
we
Kim.
usually do something with the kids. So, Hey, Kim.
Or we get busy in whatever it is that we're doing that we just forget to log in. That has been the case.
That happened last week.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. It's a rough weekend last week. But that's awesome.
Goodness.
8 p.m. is a success. We got lots of people logging on. And
8 p.m. looks pretty good.
My poor... Oh, hey! Uncle Graham. I was just going to say, my poor uncle, he's on the one side there. The sun goes down sooner, so he's like, I can't make it to 8 p.m. So a couple minutes for Graham, and then off to bed for him, and we won't be long behind you.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for jumping on, even if it is a few minutes.
Always glad to have you on. So what was the topic of conversation for tonight? We didn't actually give it an official title, but we did want to bring an idea, suggestion to the table, to the group, to the people, and see what your thoughts are on this. We've been watching, I mean, this is no new thing.
Not new, but definitely trending.
Yep.
Right now. Hi, Autumn.
Hi, Autumn.
We've had, before COVID, a few people in the shop who are working towards this topic.
Yep.
And we have a difference of opinion on it.
Sure.
So we're going to share our opinion, but we would like to hear from you guys what you might know about the topic, how you feel about it, and your perspectives on it. Mm-hmm. So this is really, you're not going to hear us talk all night.
Nope.
We're banking on your thoughts and opinions here.
Sure.
Because it's a newer topic for us, but it is trending. It's an old topic, but trending right now.
Yeah. So basically the conversation is psychedelics. Obviously, we're looking at more than just the pharmaceutical aspects. If we look at the history of magic, they've always had a place. The whole idea of the flying ointments or the ability for the witch to fly usually had something to do with a
hallucinogenic plant type thing.
Either ingested or as a salve that gave them the idea that they were flying or tripping in some way.
So we're talking about both tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of discussing the natural aspects of hallucinogenics.
Yep.
But we're also talking about the chemical aspects, the psychedelic.
Yep.
It was psychedelic therapy that had been brought to our attention a few times in the shop. People actually studying this, working towards degrees, going to school. One lady was actually taking a workshop.
Yes.
I don't know how that plays out because in my opinion, or my understanding, I shouldn't say opinion, my understanding, in order to do psychedelic therapy, it has to be administered from a medical professional.
Yeah.
And you have to be monitored by a medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure where a workshop comes into play,
mm-hmm.
but again, I'm not taking the workshop. So
I mean, I suppose it could have been a workshop on the controversy of it, or where the opinions or thoughts lie. No different than what we're doing tonight, but we knew from this person's journey that they had delved into ayahuasca and other types of
natural plants.
Yeah, mushrooms and things like that for the purpose of seeking out spiritual enlightenment, obtaining levels of consciousness that they were incapable of getting on their own 2 feet, so to speak. And that's we have a bit of an opinion on that ourselves. My personal philosophy is that if we're not working ourselves to these levels, then we're not ever really certain how we got there, if they were fully true or lucid, or I'm not sure. And I don't say that they don't have their merit, I suppose. But I'd like to know that I achieved my awareness or my state of consciousness through my own methods as opposed to relying on substance. Yeah.
Knowing that you can obtain it again through the same type of calculated work.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Reggie. I do understand through psychedelic therapy, psychedelic drugs, even natural hallucinogenics, it kind of takes you that step of letting go of ego,
mm-hmm.
Which usually stands in most people's way of achieving enlightenment.
Yeah.
So that helps you release ego and become more connected with emotion so that you can reach an enlightenment or connect with the divine. So what do you guys think? That's my question. Our thoughts are no thank you to that. I wouldn't want to explore or experience it, whether it be natural or chemical. I'd rather put the work in.
Yeah. A couple of reasons why we think this as well, or why. Well, I'm a Virgo, let's start with that. I like full control of my brain, my capacities. Never actually really been drunk or anything like that myself. So it's just not something I relinquish control of, my mind, my power, that sort of thing. So it's really all to do with my own elements of control. So that being said, I mean, I do know of lots of other people that do lean towards other ways of getting there, but then I don't really see that there's a conscious direction that takes them there and back again. And it always seems to be this elusive state that they can only get through pharmaceuticals. They can't get there on their own, or hallucinogenics.
But even we have friends
Mm-hmm.
who partake in this, and they do reach a certain of inspiration and creativity,
Absolutely.
enlightenment. But then we don't see any follow through from them afterwards. So when they've come off or down from this chemical or the natural product, we never see the follow through. Lots of chatter, lots of talk,
Yep.
lots of sharing the experience they had, lots of sharing the creative images they came up with, but never actually following through to produce anything
It
in
seems
their
to
life.
always start them on a
It's
new
a vicious
path or a new
cycle.
idea without actually completing the last one. And you would think that there'd be maybe that connection between step A, step B, step C, and so on, but no, it doesn't quite go to that. Autumn, well, I'm going to catch back up here a little bit. Melissa says, if I can't get there myself, I don't know if I want to get there. My only opinion. Plus, anything that alters my reality would really bother me, not having control.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that, again, knowing you enough to know that you are also a Virgo, I wonder if that's a Virgo trait in general. That would be something that we could certainly poll amongst the people here tonight. If there are any other Virgos that share this or have a difference of opinion on that, that would be very interesting to know.
So I do agree with Autumn. She enjoys on occasion to help reset her mind.
Yes.
So I'm not talking about a relaxation aspect, marijuana or alcohol or anything like that. Not
Mushrooms.
that we're against it, mushrooms, anything
Yep.
like that. Not against it.
Yep.
I understand it can have a relaxing effect.
Mm-hmm.
It can heal the body as well. I've done a little bit of research into it. But for a spiritual awareness or a connection to the divine, would you use these substances?
Holly says she's in the no thank you camp. Oh, it keeps moving on me. I'm in the no thank you camp, Capricorn, but also her body responds to foreign substances with nausea for days, which she just hates. I trust what my body tells me. Been 25 years, Joseph says, but yellow microdot back in the day. Andrew says he partakes in marijuana for pain.
Yeah,
again, that's looking at blocking pain issues in the body. It's not necessarily on a spiritual level, and I suppose within the aspects of microdosing, or especially if it's something that's administered by a physician that says that this will benefit you, helping you out, as long as you're not abusing those. And I suppose that's another reason why I have an issue with controversial hallucinogenic drugs is if it's illegal, you probably shouldn't be taking it. I mean, there's a reason, for whatever reason, that it's not deemed safe or it's not deemed permissible. My goody two shoes nature is like, no, that's not for you.
So I do.
That's just me.
Oh, I lost my my train of thought. It'll come back though. It always does.
Okay. Well,
too many drugs? No.
No, that's not the case.
No. So when I was researching psychedelic therapy, I mean, they instantly say it's not for out of office use because you do need someone there to help walk you through the states that you're in, and you also need a professional there who can help you process what you're seeing, what your visions might be, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, maybe bringing up old traumas or something like that. So I understand psychedelic therapy with a professional. I'm just kind of wondering how other people do it without a professional, because the friends that we have, again, they don't seem to benefit from it. They seem to get lost within it.
That's our
So
observation.
nobody's there to explain or decipher or help them process the experience.
Hi, Kim. Glad you could join us, surprisingly, here at 8 o'clock. So, it's not running in the background while you're at work, so I'm glad you can still join us. Sarah Moore says she'd be open to trying it. That's a freedom. I guess the challenge I would have, certainly not being in a world where I understand or know where this stuff comes from, how to come across it, who to trust, all of that sort of thing.
I think I'd want someone there with me. right?
Yeah.
Like a couple of our friends have done ayahuasca,
yeah.
and it's in a group atmosphere, and there's it's
guided.
like a buddy system, a guided thing. Not that I want people to like raise their hand and say, yeah, I've been there, I've done it. I'm just looking for maybe experiences you've heard of, or if you have experienced it, you could just switch it into, I've heard of this experience, let me share with you.
Yeah. Hi, Rodrigo. Glad you could join us again
tonight.
Basically, to catch you up, if you're just jumping on, our topic of conversation, a little controversial possibly tonight, and it's really about hallucinogenics, fly ointments, anything used in magic for the purpose of gaining clarity, insight, spiritual awareness, that sort of thing. Whether they're legalized or illegal. Our personal stance on this is it's not necessarily the richest possibility for gaining insight and awareness and connection to spirit.
Our personalities say we would rather work towards it through any type of spell working, meditation, connecting with spirit on our own. But that doesn't mean it's wrong or right.
No.
It's just our choice, perspective, and we think it has to do with the fact that we're Virgos. So if you have experience or you know a little bit about it, share. By all means, let us know.
April says she smokes to relax. I have smoked to get calm so I can focus on my work, but you've never done anything on psychedelics or anything like that. Autumn says, I find marijuana helps me to connect to my higher self, so to speak, pun intended, and helps me delve further into my own healing. However, I don't depend on it to connect with myself. So you found your balance, I guess, through that, and that's gone. That's awesome.
I have heard great things about pain control, self-healing, like the body healing with marijuana. I've heard wonderful things about that, so I would understand that.
Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say, actually, I said I've never been drunk or high or anything like that. I have been high on 2 separate occasions through secondhand smoke.
Not by his choice.
Not my choice. Not much of an option. Everybody around me was partaking, and I didn't. The first time was extremely unpleasant. I was uber paranoid, and I think I lay awake all night just not happy with life in general.
Let's just say a Marilyn Manson concert doesn't go without its smoking.
That was the second time, and it wasn't as bad. It was expected, I suppose. I wasn't surprised by it. And we just sat in the car for a good hour or two afterwards. And let everybody fight for the right to get out of the parking lot. And I'm just gonna let this roll off for a little bit. But again, not something that I found very pleasant. It's not who I am.
I get sleepy. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never done anything. I've never tried anything. I do get sleepy. So really, it has no factors for me. No spiritual connection, reaching the divine, hitting my potential. I just go into a little foggy, sleepy state.
Mm-hmm. Pat says it is a Virgo thing for sure.
Control,
yeah. I don't do anything that alters my control. As for my opinion, I do understand how the user is wanting to use it to obtain the bliss of awareness. However, you can obtain this on your own and have this bliss daily, naturally, instead of a quick fix. Potato, and I agree on that. I'd like to know how I get there. I'd like to know my way there, my way back. I think one of the best illustrations I ever heard of this, somebody suggested that it was like if you could just take something like an elevator to the top floor, the 100th floor, the door is open, and there you are standing in the elevator gazing at everything that is the majesty of the penthouse suite. Oh, me, stop.
Dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's you. That's our bird, if you can hear it. He's
chiming in on it and saying, yeah, I got an opinion on this one. Yeah. So it's like you're standing there in the foyer and you're being able to glance around the 100th floor of the penthouse suite, but then you have to go back down and go back to the reality that is your world. The funny thing is you don't stop along the way. You didn't take the stairways or anything else like that. All you've done is had a little glimpse into the reality of what
could be.
The potential.
So what about all the floors in between? What if there was wisdom or guidance or creativity or inspiration on those middle floors? Mm-hmm. Do you miss all that, or is there only one floor?
I don't know, and I think from my own life, I mean, if I'm going to use that analogy, I spent a period of my life where I was resentful of people who had more than me, people that had nicer homes or more money or a better situation or position in their life. And I spent so much time resenting it, I didn't actually do anything on my own to recognize what I personally had that I was grateful for. And I missed out on the growth and the experience along the way. And I think in some cases that's maybe sort of the sort of things that happens when you take hallucinogens or drugs to enhance your psychic or spiritual abilities. All you do is you get a little snippet, a glimpse. You cut through, but then you have to return back to where you were. And I think there could possibly lend an idea where it's like, this is something that I resent now because I can't have that. The only way I can have that is through little snippets, little segments.
Yeah, he's still meeting.
Yeah, you're just
yeah.
annoying.
It's very annoying. Oh, but he's such a cute bird.
He is very cute. Red rump parakeet. Can be good if you keep an open mind and a clean spirit, but can go wrong if you're in a bad place or spirit going into it.
So I guess it's really about where you are right here in the moment. And if you're in a place of goodness, health, if you're in a good, healthy place, you can potentially reach a divine space.
Like Rodrigo here, he comments that he partakes in marijuana in order to break down walls and discover the self. This is done with a huge amount of setup first in order to stay on task and keep focused.
Yes.
I like that you take it to a ritual practice or a magical purpose as opposed to just rolling it up or smoking it willy-nilly. Not making any claims of judgment or anything like that, but I would say that if this was something that I wanted to explore, this would be the way that I would do it, and I think it would probably help take me to a place where it was beneficial.
I like that there's a focus or a task at hand that you've laid out before. I think that's well said, for sure.
I'm just curious though, does it ever go sideways on you? Does it ever, I don't know a whole lot about it, I'm not going to lie. It's not something I'm educated on. I have very few ideas on where I'd even be able to go to get some of this stuff. But I wouldn't know if it's something that is random, like whether different types of marijuana even would give you a different high or a different experience. And the plan that you had set in motion somehow went sideways. We know this can happen with magical work anyways. Most cases it just doesn't work, but I guess that would be the question I'd have for you. Has this ever been something that you initiated and started, only to have it go horribly, horribly wrong? Kim says she smoked and had edibles and does not enjoy it. It makes her nauseous and she can't do it. Joseph's stating here, if you have an open mind and open heart going in, it's okay. It seems to go well. I think that's just an echo of something that he said earlier too. If you have dark thoughts or angry thoughts, it can go bad quickly. I believe that's why my first unsolicited experience of being high was not a pleasant experience. It was because I was very stressed out and paranoid, and I've heard from people afterwards that will make it not pleasant. I've done shots twice, never enough to hallucinate. Done shoots twice, never enough to hallucinate, but it was for recreation, not for magic. Again, I think I figured out what it was. That's not shots, shoots. Oh, well, it makes sense. Shoots. Kim says, I'm not going to lie, the first circle I did on my own, because I'm new. I had a couple drinks, and that's when I called you, because I had thoughts about her and got very concerned. That's understandable. That is, it's one of those settling the nerves type of thing, but we would encourage people as they explore within the magic practices. When you're doing circles, any type of intentional work or magic ritual, save the alcohol for after. A little cakes and wines, because we don't want to muddle the energy or numb it. Sometimes that
or question yourself afterwards.
Energy, that anxious energy can be actually used very positively to keep you on point, to keep you focused with what you're doing. It's something you'll learn. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it.
Or even to do this and question yourself after? Was
Yeah.
it real?
Or was it?
Is that what I'm experiencing? Is that the
Yeah.
message I should be experiencing? You question everything. I guess
Yeah.
as you do it more, it would become more familiar to you. Yes?
Yep. That's the intention anyways. And again, it's you working through the process, working through the steps. I'm sure you've got lots and lots of experiences where you didn't know what you were doing when you first started out. But then over time, it just became second nature to the point where, I mean, you can have us going in the background while you're at work doing what you need to do. It's no different with magic. Now, mind you, I would suggest that if you are working magic, the intention needs to be clear and pure. It needs to be the primary focus, not something burning away in the background.
So we've actually had friends who have went on an ayahuasca journey, and I mean the things they tell us afterwards is the horrific sickness, the vomiting, the seeing people like wet their pants, and yeah, it's horrendous. It doesn't sound like a good experience, but I mean I guess other people have different experiences.
Yeah. I watched a documentary on it several years back, and it was two people going through the experience, and the one who was ambivalent about it to begin with actually had a fascinating experience, and the one who was gung-ho for this, she was like, it was not a good time.
Yeah, she was sick,
but she figured there must be something to it, so she went back for a second round and was actually devastated when the same experience happened. Like, she was really hoping that something positive was going to come from this, and it just was not the case for her. So whether it was just something to do with her own body rejecting it, or I really don't know. But I do remember watching it as the observer, thinking, this does not look like a fun time on either part. It didn't look like something I'd want to participate in myself.
I've yet to hear of a good experience. Lots of inspiration, lots of magic happening, lots of breaking down walls and pulling out trauma, but I've yet to hear of a good bodily function experience.
Yeah. April says, Michelle says, I've tried mushrooms but didn't like the feeling. I'll stick to my marijuana for relaxation.
Yeah.
April says they have crystal pipes. I have amethyst that I smoke out of. I have seen those. That would be, I used to smoke pipes for pipe tobacco. Just started off as just kind of a whim or a hobby, and then it became a little more than recreational, to a point where it's like, you know what, I need to stop this. This is not healthy. And I kind of liked the idea of the crystal pipes, but yeah, I have no real purpose or need for one. So other than just having them for cool factor, that would be about it. Joseph says, if you have a bad trip, it could mess you up. It's more or less dreaming or nightmaring while awake.
Right.
It can be pleasant and euphoric, or it can be really scary, living a nightmare. It wasn't blatantly terrifying, but I was very, very uncomfortable. I was paranoid. I was stressed out. I thought that I was going to be violated in my sleep. It was not a good time for me. By a very huge bouncer at that, yeah, or a bounty hunter rather. He was a bounty hunter. Just I was with somebody else, and we wound up crashing there for the night, and yeah, it was not a good experience for me. Absolutely unwarranted, unfounded altogether. Like no merit to it whatsoever. But off.
Like Pat's comment.
Yeah. A great example of this is Ram Dass and Timothy Leary obtaining nirvana using LSD. In a controlled environment for 4 years. Ram Dass craved for that feeling without the use of LSD, and found it in his guru in India years later. Again, yeah, it's like he took the elevator up to the 100th floor, had the epiphany, the enlightenment, and then spent a significant amount of time working through the process to get to where he was trying to go. So I guess there is benefit to it, but I'd be very worried that it would put me in a place where I was bitter, resentful. I know I've been there before without anything to do with drugs, and I would be concerned about that. Curious to see. Rodrigo says, to take your example as an elevator, to use just yourself, you have the ability to get up as far as you'd like with hard work. Both the stairs and the elevator. We all have that ability. The stairs, everyone has access to that door, but you have to, where to go? Oh my goodness, it's way up there. Sorry, I just opened it all up. You wrote me a novel. I love it. But you have to use your own legs to go up. But not everyone has the same legs. Some legs only get you to certain floors. Not to say because of being weak, but perhaps it just, you don't need to be on those floors. As for the elevator, we can all press the button through hallucinogenics. It doesn't open for everyone. Even if you can open the door, not everyone has a keyboard for every floor. Interesting. And that's not true for everyone, as not everyone is meant for every floor either. I find that I can use it to find how to focus, and small computer, I have to scroll. I have to focus.
And guide that energy and
Thank you.
reverse engineer it the way back and do it
sober.
Yeah.
Okay, so you look at it as a glimpse, and then you kind of mentally work the process backwards to where you are in order to find the way forward. Interesting.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's pretty awesome.
That's the first time I've actually heard somebody say it in a way that makes me go, you know what, I'll take that under advisement. I do understand, Kim says, now that alcohol is not something I want to mix up with magic, but it's something that I need to change from my daily routine lifestyle. That's why I started the Witches Watusi, something different for me. But still trying to change my routines. Only did it 2 days with different socks, but back to the same old white socks. There's some nice
Control
little
issues.
Yep, there's some nice little inside jokes there. For anybody that's not familiar, a Witches Watusi is a dance with a bunch of witches. I'm sure you've seen examples of this with another group.
It's a German group.
I
yeah.
can't pronounce.
I forget
their
name.
They're amazing. They're awesome, and we loved it. And we said, let's try something like that, and gave them some accolades and kudos, and one of our groups actually reached out and shared, and I guess they had some connections in German and stuff, and this group was like, that's awesome, good luck, have fun. And it was a really neat chance to kind of goof off in front of the community and just bring a little bit of magic to our town, to our area, have a little bit of fun, but also enlighten people that, as goofy as this was, it's actually something serious and real for us too. It was awesome, it was great. And Kim joined us for that. Now I'm curious, Kim, did you have to have a little nip to do the dance, or were you just right in there with us and comfort in numbers, I suppose? Moody Blues, Timothy Leary, great team. we got some fans here. Interesting. Okay, well, we've got some very diverse thoughts and opinions on this. I said it would be controversial, but what I really love is there's no judgment, there's no ridicule taking place. We've heard extremes, obviously, on both sides, where it's not necessarily the nicest conversation. This is what I love about our people, is that they're all very open-minded, very considerate to other people, and there's no judgment.
Well, it's about the experience. You don't know everything. You haven't experienced everything, so to be able to hear it from you guys is fantastic.
Yeah. So in our exploration of psychedelic therapy, it's more of a medical than a spiritual.
So it is here in Canada.
Yeah,
when
surprising.
I was reading it, it is here in Canada. You can actually go to school and study this.
Yep.
And it's more of the release of traumatic experiences, depression, that kind of thing. It's getting you out of those. PTSD. It's used for PTSD for sure, for rape victims, army, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So getting rid of bad habits, so alcoholism, anything like that. Mm-hmm. But it's in a monitored situation.
Very controlled
situation.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know how I feel. I haven't certainly done enough research to really have formed an opinion on it. Was kind of surprised to hear about this, and couldn't quite understand how that would work, but I am kind of curious to see where it's going.
They're actually talking about like legalizing LSD, Molly, and then the substance that would be in shrooms that makes it a hallucinogenic property. I forget the name when I was digging around looking into things. Yeah. So they're talking about legalizing it for that purpose, for psychedelic therapy purposes, through a physician.
So is it one of those, if you can't beat them, join them things? Or is it looking at it, okay, people are doing this anyways, let's at least control or allow it in a way that it's at least dosed or
Who
proper?
knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It could be a cut of
That could be
government getting money,
Yeah.
right? We all know they have their hands in everything.
Sure.
People are doing it anyways. But yeah, who knows the reason for it, but it's definitely trending right now. It's very trendy.
Yeah, which, I mean, has its own alarms as well. I mean, if this is where our societal focus is turning, why is that the case?
We did a workshop. Well, it's one of our workshops at the shop on hedge witchery, and I went through, since we teach a lot of science at the shop, we went through all the hallucinogenic drugs, the chemical drugs that you can partake in, as well as the natural ones, and how it affects your brain waves, and then the pros and cons of each one, and what part of the body it affects the most. So that was a fantastic workshop that we put together. I really enjoyed that one because it did step out of the box and look at all of the chemical drugs and the natural as well. So.
And I'm fascinated on the scientific level how people can actually obtain these mental states without any of those pharmaceuticals. And
yeah.
Tibetan monks are known to be able to,
Shamans.
within moments, to be able to do this
Yeah.
and to get to that state, that brainwave. And that fascinates me. That's why I'm so intrigued with getting a Muse device and actually starting to play around with it myself.
Simply through meditation.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's
Intentional and hard work.
fascinating as well.
Rodrigo says, as for the characteristics of pot, things to consider. Indica is the strain that makes you think deeply and begin the journey to self. Depends on the potency. It can be from mild to melt in the couch. The sativa strain is like coffee and lets you focus, but again, the strength of it will make you go anxious, or basically what Jeremy was describing.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Well, that actually brings up an interesting point, because coffee is a stimulant. How is that really any different? I mean, I love my cup or 2 or 3 of coffee in the morning. I usually drink it as I'm meditating, which seems like a bit of an oxymoron in some ways. But I've also had that similar experience where I can have a cup of coffee and it's perfect. Or I can have another cup of coffee, ironically, from Tim Hortons, and it feeds my brain something, and I feel like a squirrel with ADHD. I'm bouncing all over the place, can't focus, my heart's aflutter, and I'm trying to figure out what the difference is when essentially it's both coffee. Why one would affect me and the other one wouldn't. That's partly the reason I don't drink Tim Hortons coffee anymore. It was really starting to affect me, not only that way, but also in my stomach. So there's something unique about the Tim Hortons coffee that just doesn't sit very well with me anymore. But funny enough, is I can drink my own coffee with no issues, no problems.
So I really love the information you guys are providing in the comments, because we do have people who would like to explore these avenues. It's why we brought it up, because it is trending and people are coming into the shop asking questions about it. So I love that you guys are putting the comments there, because anyone who watches the video can tap into those comments and see from people who have utilized different types of substances to reach that nirvana state. Or if you have any links or podcasts or anything that you find unique and interesting on the subject, just kind of tag it in there too for later discovery from people.
Lost my train of thought on that. I guess really for us it comes to the fact that we'll be the first ones to admit when we don't know about things. And this is one of those areas. As much as we have our thoughts and opinions on it, we are very kind of naive when it comes to
it can be swayed because it's not something we participate in. The whole fact of losing control stops us from participating in something like that. I gain inspiration other ways, as do you. So, but I'm never against hearing about it or learning about it. I did quite a bit of research over the last little bit, as well as when we were putting together the hedge witchery workshop. I mean, that was a lot of research. I didn't want to just do a workshop on hedge witchery. I always like to combine science in with it too. So that's a lot of research on our behalf, and I like exploring.
I research the heck out of everything.
I do. Even for this video, because we were talking about psychedelic therapies, well, I have to be sure of what I'm talking about and what I'm asking, And you guys are adding great comments and answering those questions too, so thank you for that.
Kim says that after the Witches Watusi, I did have to have a drink when I got home from those dances. Wasn't sure about a lot of stuff and going on, and forcing myself to talk with others I didn't know was hard. But kudos to you, and look what you've done. Look what you've accomplished, and look how far your journey has taken you. So
MECs and the Watusi has really brought people out of their shell.
Right.
So we're glad people join in.
Leading you to become the king and queen of the masquerade ball at that. I mean, wow, you've come a long ways, baby. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Rodrigo, in reference to the drugs, they're able to help control the chemical imbalances of PTSD, bipolar, borderline personality disorders, etc.
Well, that's what I was reading, but it's not even just about the control. So they are taking medications to control those types of things, but then they're taking the psychedelic to help break down walls and barriers to maybe repair and rebuild. Basically, it kickstarts your brain over again, allowing you to tap into your true self, your true emotions, and start rebuilding your life and around you, because you've let go of ego. So
like a reboot.
Yeah, it's a reboot. So they are still taking drugs to help control the symptoms of those things. But then they're taking the psychedelic to help kickstart and reboot their life. So.
Yeah, I wonder at what
I was
cost,
impressed.
Right? I think it's intriguing.
I was impressed, and they really jumped into like how it affects the brain, and it actually opens up a part of the brain that most of us never ever tap into, these psychedelics. So yeah, I was quite impressed with the science behind it. Okay. Not saying I would do it. Nope. I still don't like the control, and I really don't want anyone else analyzing me or processing my thoughts in general, or my visions. That's up to me. But that's
such control.
I know, that's a control thing. That's definitely a control thing on my behalf. But I'm still very impressed with the work behind it.
Autumn says she hopes to try microdosing shrooms at some point to see the healing properties of it, not only for the mental health, but to see what it does for physical health as well. Very similar to what we were just talking about. Joseph says, loves the comment of the Tibetan monks can listen to their deep throat chanting and bells all day long. So peaceful and soothing. It's pretty amazing. The singing, the singing bowls, King Shah's. I've been doing a lot of stuff lately with sound therapy, sound baths.
Well, you like the Mongolian
throat
singing as well. That's quite
interesting. The Who, I think they're called.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what movie they just did the soundtrack for.
No, we were watching Marco Polo.
Marco Polo,
and
they did
a lot.
A mainstream movie too. They did the music for, but I liked them well before they really got established, and it's just.
We listened to them.
Yeah, it's so primal. It just, it turns you into a machine. That's pretty cool. Sativa, how do you pronounce that? Is exactly like a cup of coffee. I'm going to say sativa. Am I correct on that? Kim says, Tim Hortons coffee is apparently hard to stop. I've had people tell me they've had headaches after stopping Tim Hortons. Yes, I've heard it's the chicory as well. Something to do with lining the cups with a chicory root. But this is weird because I can drink chicory root like instant coffee.
Yeah.
Doesn't faze me at all. No addictiveness to it. I think it's a wonderful substitute for coffee. So I'm thinking there's got to be more to it than that. But I've heard it from other authorities that is the difference between Tim Hortons coffee versus any other coffee out there, and the addictiveness is coming with that. So
gets you up and going. So before you move on, can anyone who's familiar with these strains of marijuana, can you guys just type out or explain how it's extracted? Like, what are they extracting? Because I do a lot with oils and plants and extracting the oils. So how does that apply to marijuana? if you guys can, anyone who's familiar with it.
Okay, Rodrigo asks if either of us are channelers, is then letting the spirit come in and take over. Oh, no. Not intentionally, anyways.
You know what happened once with my best friend. She's not on here tonight, but if she was, she would probably, she'd probably jump off in a hurry.
I don't know names, but
it happened once, and I say no thank you to that. For the rest of the time. It was about 7 years ago, and it's just not my thing. It's literally losing control of me. Actually, twice. Once with her, and once in an actual tarot reading.
You were not yourself.
I was not myself, and I was like, what?
And
so now I just say no, thank you. No. Not our jam. Not okay.
I've not had it personally happen to me. I'm not exactly certain how to define it exactly. It's just like I'm suddenly aware of insight that wouldn't have been something that I would have dredged up myself, I suppose, would be the best way to do it. Or it's like, this feels like it's the right thing to say, specifically referring to tarot readings or anything like that. It's just trusting my instincts, trusting my guts, but assuming that there's something bigger than just me providing me with that insight. That being said, it's very external. It's not something that I allow to actually come through me or channel in that way. So no experience on my own with that. Not that I'm aware of.
You know what? The 2 times that I've had it happen, one was very sad, and the other was very angry. And I was not in control of the messages that were being sent. And it just didn't feel right to me. That's all. Okay. I don't mind getting messages in general, but to have someone say it, have a spirit say it, take over, no. I like my control.
Kim says, for frick's sake, I hope Mark never sees this and sees that you mentioned the king. That's his drug. He loves his reign of power. Joseph. Oh, sorry.
No, they're just the ping all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're all piling down below here. We hit an interesting topic tonight. Joseph was raised Roman Catholic and got seriously into Buddhism after losing a child.
Oh, okay.
There's some loss there for sure. And that's... We've had many discussion in the shop over spiritual beliefs, religious practices, etc. I think Roman Catholic, I have to chuckle behind my hand a little bit because they are so closely related to high magic, high ceremonial magic with the same tools, the same implements in a lot of ways. But that's another bunny trail, another topic for another day. But that's quite the transition from Catholicism into Buddhism.
I enjoy Buddhism. We do bring it up in a lot of our workshops. I think their philosophies of life are very unique. It's a unique take on how they see things.
Yeah. And I love it. I think that we could all benefit from at least a objective look on how they practice, how they believe, and there's definitely some benefits to integrating some of their philosophies into our life, if not embracing it wholly.
I think she's playing peekaboo.
Is that what she's doing?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think they're playing peekaboo with me because that's the sound they're making.
Because you're in the room.
Because I'm in the spot where I would normally play peekaboo with them. So we can't sit here anymore.
Well, the only reason we sat here in this direction was because the other direction shows all the dishes on the counter for dinner. That's the 8 p.m. Oh, we didn't think about that. The dishes are going to be on the counter. Kim says Mongolian music is awesome to hear, so soothing for some reason. I think what makes it really nice is it's the sound, the tones, and it's meditative because you have no idea what they're saying. It's a different language, but in some way it doesn't compel you to understand or to know what they're saying. You just let it wash over you.
Listen. Yeah. Linda would love to learn more about crystal bowls and sound healing, and honestly, that would be a great topic for one of our socials. Sound healing, because everyone's so interested in it. Okay. It would definitely be something good to discuss and learn about and share experiences. So,
okay, well, I can tell you something about crystal bowls. They're stinking expensive. They are so expensive. Same with the Tibetan singing bowls, the metal ones. Now there's a very definitive difference between the cheap ones and the not cheap ones.
Yes.
And there really isn't a bridge in between them. It's like you've got your generic it has a ring, it makes a noise, and then the ones that are hand tuned, hand hammered, and they basically, if it's extravagant, you're probably getting something that's accurate and true. It's probably resonating at a proper frequency. That's my knowledge, my understanding as I've discovered.
Just because it has a chakra color on it, doesn't mean it's tuned to that chakra.
And ironically, I mean, we had a customer that was looking very specifically for a specific chakra tuned singing bowl. And I'm like, okay, all well and good. I'll show you what we can get in. But I can tell you right now, just because it's that chakra bowl doesn't mean that that's going to be the proper tune. This is what you need, something vibrating at this frequency, and unfortunately this is the cost. But I guess the question here is, why would you only work on one chakra, one of your 7 major chakras? I mean, you get that balanced and something else is going to be off. It should be about balancing all of the chakra levels. And sure, maybe one needs a higher priority, or it needs some more attention or focus than the others, but for a time. And then once you manage to get that in control, balanced and circling, spinning properly, then now something else is going to be off. And you would really, you spent all of that time and money. It's benefited you greatly, I'm sure, for that period. But then what are you going to do? Because I was looking at getting in sets, and she only wanted the one out of the set. I'm like, okay. Anyhow, that's a topic for another day.
Trail.
We'll get into that for another workshop or another video. Rodrigo says the channeling would be what you would consider or be what would happen with a hallucinogenic.
Yeah,
okay.
So I didn't favor the channeling, so I probably wouldn't favor hallucinogenics.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be surprised, but I have a very reluctant transition into it.
Doesn't stop me from studying or
no, the study
researching.
Fascinates me more than the actual doing it.
Same here.
Yep.
So, and Kim, not really asking about oils and healing.
Mm-hmm.
I do make my own oils.
I think
really
like referring to medicinal, like marijuana oils. And
marijuana
different
oils. Oh,
yep.
okay.
Yep. So like
Kim, just give me a little text if it's marijuana oils, if it's the breakdown of
more like the CBD oils,
the strains of different properties for marijuana.
Yeah.
If that's what you're talking about, yeah, I would love to know more. I'm trying to convince Jeremy to buy me a little science kit.
Oh, right, yeah, like a distillery.
A distillery.
I watched a video on it once.
Yeah.
Somebody was distilling lavender. Of all the things to distill, why would you choose lavender?
Not lavender, no.
Yeah, I thought, well, that's fascinating, actually. And now that I've seen it done, I'm like, I get how this works now. That's very intriguing. So there we are. But yeah, Kim says if you want to know more about it, talk to Mark.
Okay.
Kim makes the oil and stuff, so he can get you.
I'm just curious for research purpose. I think that would be neat to understand more of, because I do like the aspects of oil and healing and plant properties. So it's right up my alley.
What I like is that they are tapping into some of these things where you're using the oils without getting the highs for purposes of healing, for healing pain, dealing with stuff like that.
I had a lady in once who made CBD oils,
is
that what they're called?
Yep.
And she was very knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
I found the conversation to be quite fascinating with her.
Yep, and we have a few in the shop that like to bring in their edibles, and I guess a popular method is butter.
Oh,
making butter with CBD oil, and then they got to be careful which butter container they're squeezing out of. Rodrigo says there are processes of working through all that, the anxiety and loss of control feel, especially for first-time users. Basically, think back to when you were awakened to the veil, like a bucket of cold water, but it can be worked through and controlled. Yeah, makes sense. I get that. You still haven't convinced me, and but you're getting close.
You know what? The information I received was incredible. I won't deny that. The moment I had and the connection I had with, I almost said her name, with my friend, was incredible, and we still talk about it to this day. Cautiously, because it did scare her.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of my abstinence towards it, is it came unannounced. I was unaware that it was happening, and it surprised me. So, yeah, I guess doing it more, you become more familiar with it. Like
Oh,
anything.
and for you, because it's not part of your practice, it's
Not part of
it's
my
a
practice.
violation of yourself.
Yeah, it came across as a violation,
Yeah.
and so Rodrigo, I don't know if you'll understand this because like you are a channeler. It stuck with me. So the individual that channeled the spirit stuck with me to this day, and this happened 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing any type of dream work, if I'm communicating on my own, manifesting whatever, this person is there, and it's like a little clip in my brain of that person sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's weird. It stuck with me, and I'm not sure if that's normal or if I don't know.
Yeah, think about it. That's on a spiritual, mental level. It's no different than, I mean, relationships. If you have sexual encounters and relationships, you take a little piece of those people with you as you go. It takes a lot to shake that off, or to get, not necessarily get rid of it, but to sort of put it aside so that you can focus on other areas. And in this case, it's the status of your mind. It's in your head, your brain, your soul, that little piece of you that has connected with this other person, that identity. I can only speculate because I've not had that happen to me personally, nor would I feel very comfortable if it did. And I think that's why we work hard to keep that boundaries, those walls of protection up when we're practicing, when we're keeping that that shroud of protection.
Believe me, everyone at the shop asks. They're always looking for channelers, mediums, anything like that. And I just politely decline and say, no, we don't do that.
I don't think we've not been able to fulfill the needs of a client because we didn't channel. We have people coming in, they want to connect with spirit, and we're not those people. We don't do it that way, but if you're really interested, we can explore some other options through tarot to divine the information, to glean the insight that you need, to maybe find a message from the universe. And where that message comes from is not for us to determine, because we don't physically understand or feel that connection. But I don't know why, but this is the message that comes up, and it's like that's exactly it. That was exactly what I was looking for or needed to hear. And that's not because we're really good and sussed out that stuff. It's just us trusting our abilities, our instincts. And I can't recall a situation where it hasn't benefited somebody, even though we didn't do it in the way that they were maybe hoping for. At the end result was always a positive, or sometimes an ass kicking. There have been a few of those too, where it's like, I'm really sorry, but this is the message you needed to hear apparently, and I don't know how to put it nicely. But no, it's always come about through a different way. We've never needed to go that route, I suppose. Any more messages? I don't think so. I think we're caught up.
We are. Oh, it got busy there for a minute.
Yeah, you guys were like right in on this one. That's pretty cool.
We always worry about the topics, if people are going to enjoy them or participate. Because we're not so familiar with this topic, we are kind of relying on other people's experiences, like really a social atmosphere. So you guys stepped up today.
Well, I think, what's really important to recognize too is that every culture has its own experiences with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just a Canadian thing that we struggle with or have a difference of opinions on. I think in some ways we might be more closed-minded to it than
these
perhaps
are older
other cultures,
right?
Yeah.
We're talking about shamans and ayahuasca and natural peyote. These are older cultures.
Yeah.
It's just trending now. It was secretive when I first opened Melinda's Enchanted Cottage. It was a secrecy thing using hallucinogenics. Now it's like out in the open, trending psychedelic therapy. It's in the forefront. So just wondered about your thoughts and opinions on that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on here?
Yeah, you guys have any questions or comments? Any more comments? If you got extra topics that you want to dish out and talk about, Linda, I'm going to take that one into consideration with the crystal bowls and sound healing, because it is something we're very familiar with and we love sharing that kind of thing. So that will definitely be a topic coming up. But if you guys have other topics, other areas of interest, or something that you're familiar with and very well versed in, bring it to the table, because we love to hear that kind of stuff. It's not about us. It's about you guys.
One of us has to talk, so.
Oh no, I did a lot of talking tonight.
Did you? I'm uncomfortable. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
did.
This chair's killing me.
Jeremy's a hurting unit. I need to get him in bed with some Advil.
No, I can't. I
You already took some.
there's my dosing, micro dosing. I took 2 extra strength Tylenol today. That's a bad day for me, just saying.
And we're gonna go tobogganing again
What?
on
No, we're
Monday.
not. No.
Yes, we are, because I'm all better.
You're all better.
I am all better.
Well, I'll sit here and watch whatever I want on Netflix.
There you go. So, okay guys, I think
Thank you so
we're
much.
gonna let you go for tonight,
Yep.
and thank you guys for joining and participating. What's tomorrow? Friday?
The next day.
The next day?
It's
Friday.
the next day after today.
We'll see you guys here,
We'll
Witches
see you here.
Social, 8 p.m. Yeah.
Thank you for the great chat,
Thanks.
everybody. And
I enjoyed it.
Some mind-opening conversation. Not gonna lie. I thank you. It was awesome.
Blessed be, and love you guys. Have a great night.
Oh.